Hey, welcome back to Kaart's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt, dankjewel. Today I have a really beautiful Christmas card to show you. It has a stamped background and I've used really soft colours in the pine twigs and for the inks so that you can see the copper bells really well. Ik heb vandaag een mooie kaart voor je met een gestempelde achtergrond. Ik heb zachte kleuren gebruikt zodat je die koperen klokjes heel goed kunt zien. Ook de binnenkant van de kaart is versierd. The inside of the card is decorated as well. As usual, I have tips and tricks to show you, so come and join me. Zoals altijd heb ik wat tips en trucjes om je te laten zien, dus kijk gezellig mee. I'll start by showing you the elements of the card. You're going to need a frame, 2 sprigs, a bow and 2 copper bells, which then all come together in this very pretty card. I did make my first one without the frame, and it works as well, so you could choose, but I think the frame adds something to the card, so I'm going to continue making cards with a frame. And the bit that you cut out is not wasted because this can be used on the inside of the card. So I'll show you what supplies I have used. First of all, Balmy Blue and Highland Heather ink. I've used 2 stamp sets, the Snow Crystal for the background stamp. Then I've used the sentiment from Decorated with Happiness, and from the Decorated with Happiness there I've used the Decorated Pine dies, which is a large die set, and I'll show you which ones I've used. So the pine twigs, the bell and the bow. I've already taken them out, as you can see. I've also used the stitched rectangles, and these are the ones that I've used. So I've used the 3rd largest and the 4th largest. I've adhered them together so that they cut the frame in one go. So this is really handy, and I keep them together like this for as long as I need them. I'll just put those in there. And I have already put some adhesive sheet on the cardstock. For example, here you have the strip of copper foil, and I've put adhesive sheet on the back. Adhesive sheet, well, bar. And I'm taking out an extra one because I'm going to show you how you can do that. It makes adhering those detailed dies like this one much easier. And also for the pine twigs I've used a strip of the adhesive sheet, so that's the adhesive sheet. Okay, you need a bit of copper foil with adhesive sheet on the back, some Poppy Parade adhesive sheet on the back. Then I have here 2 pieces of cardstock, mint macaron and soft succulent, and I'm going to show you how you can put the adhesive sheet on the back there to die cut these twigs. And I'm just looking in my notes here because first of all I'm going to need an adhesive sheet strip which is 1 inch. So, and I'm cutting it with there is where you can take the backing paper off, do you see? So I'm cutting it with the backing paper going horizontally, then it's easier to adhere them. I'll just cut 2 strips. And I'm going to put the adhesive sheet on. I'm looking for where it is, there we go. And I'm putting it on one edge. And if you leave the backing on as long as you can, it makes adhering it easier. And the last piece is this comes in 3 parts. With the bone folder I make sure that I adhere well, and then I can cut these pine twigs like this. You see, I just put them on and see that they fit. So if you put them on at an angle, and when you cut them there's adhesive sheet on part of the die. I don't want adhesive sheet all over because I do like it if this hangs loose a bit, but I do want it adhered there in the middle. So that's how you can do that with just 1 strip of the adhesive sheet on your cardstock, and you can cut 3 from this. So if you're careful with your die cutting. You can get 3 branches from that one piece of cardstock, and I've done the same thing with the mint macaron. I haven't done so now because I have already pre-cut them, as you could see, but this was just to explain to you how you can die cut part of the die. I'll show you the die cut again. See, that's where the white is, that's where the adhesive sheet is. And I've done the same thing with the copper foil. I've covered it entirely in adhesive sheet and then I die cut it. And if you put your dies on like this, so at an angle, 1 and then 2, and then see that you can get as many out as you can. And I'm checking in my notes, if you do it like this, you can get 4 bells out of the one strip of copper foil. So it's economical if you want. Okay, so I've done the die cutting already. Then I'm going to show you how you can cut the cardstock itself. This is an A4 sheet, so I'll have to change the direction a bit. A4 means that it is 8 1/4, whereas letter size would be 8 1/2. So I'm cutting it at 4 1/8. That's half of 8 1/4. And if you have a letter, you can leave it at the 4 1/4, no problem at all. And I'm going to cut it down to 11 inches because A4 is longer than the letter size. So first I'm cutting to 11 inches and then I'm going to score at 5 1/2 inches. So that will be the same for letter size. You would have 11 by 4 1/4, which you score at 5 1/2, 14 centimeters. I'll blend in all the measurements. So this then is the base of the card, and I'm going to stamp on that using this large stamp of snow crystal. First I'm going to mask this. Okay, and I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper under because I'm going to stamp off as well. Then I'll show you how I do this 2-coloured stamping. You need the 2 pads, and I'm going to stamp off as well because I want the colour really, really soft. So I'll start with the balmy blue and I'll ink my stamp. And I can see really well here that I have ink everywhere. And if not, I'll go over it again. No, there's ink everywhere. I'm just checking in the glare of the light. And then I take my sponge dauber and the Highland heather and I'm going to tap on the pad and tap the blue off and then just put some darker spots on. And I do clean off my dauber in between because I don't want to mix the 2 colours. Although this is darker, it might happen that. Stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp onto the card base, making sure I press down well, especially there where the mask is, because I want my stamp to go all the way. And then I repeat the process, but I'm cleaning my stamp in between again because I don't want to contaminate the balmy blue pad. So this is clean. I'll repeat the process. I forgot to stamp off. See? It will still work, but it's darker than here, you see? But I'm keeping it like that, so you can see the difference if you stamp off really well, or if you forget to stamp off like here. Okay. You'll get a kind of ombre look this way if you don't stamp off with one of the stamps, which is an option, I suppose. Then I'm going to use these little stars from that stamp set again. This is, I'll show you again, from the Decorate with Happiness. You've got these little stars and dots, and I'm going to use those with the same ink. Stamp off 2, don't forget that now, and then stamp onto the card base. Then I'm ready to do one last piece of die cutting. I promised to show you how I die cut this frame. So you need a piece of basic white for that. This is the one, and I've cut it just large enough to take those 2 dies. Do you see? Well, I'll die cut those and then I'll be back. I did use the embossing buddy on the back of the tape, otherwise this will stick on really well, and then it's difficult to get it out of your frame without changing the position it's in. So first I used my grid paper to align these 2 dies together, stuck them together, cut off the excess, and then used my embossing buddy to make sure it's not too sticky. That's another tip for you. Okay, I can put that one over there. Then I'm going to use my tear and tape to adhere this frame. You can use the Tombow if you want, but I want it to stick down really well everywhere, and I don't want any glue to ooze out, so I'm just using my tear and tape. And if you have to put tear and tape in a square, you can't see that very well on the white, but I did start away from that corner on purpose. Then I could just take my tear and tape and go all the way to the end of the paper, and then I tear it off here too. See, so here it's now covered there. I hope the camera picks this up. And then here I can take it all the way to the end and cut it. Well, I'm cutting it in a way, aren't I? All right, then, oh, my box moved. I want my bone folder to make sure the tear and tape adheres well. And I promised you that you could use that one for the inside of the card. And there's this lovely wish in the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that in the gorgeous crepe. It says, wishing you a season decorated with happiness and wonder. And I'm going to put in the little stars again, the stars and the dots, and again I'm stamping off, so I need my piece of scrap paper back in. I'm happy with that. This is just a matter of random stamping and just looking where you think, oh, I can add, sorry about that, I just threw my block down. As I was saying, this is just a matter of random stamping and then checking where you want to add a bit more colour, in what corner, what edge. Now I can put this away. Here's the card back in. This goes inside the card. Here you have the frame and the elements. Now it's just a matter of putting everything together. First I'll adhere the inside, the sentiment, and I use the snail. Not snail, I keep saying that. It's seal. Well, it sounds like snail if you change a couple of letters. And the multi-purpose liquid glue. This way I can move it around just a bit until the glue has dried, and when I press down in the middle it will be fixed because that's where the seal is, and I may want to wiggle a bit. I'm trying to get it on in the middle. This should do it. See, and now I press down in the middle and then it is fixed and it's straight. Well, hey. Okay, then I'm going to put the frame on, at an angle. So with my take your pick tool, you remove the backing. And now it's time for the pine twigs, and you can see I've also cut it even shorter, so when it comes out of the die it may be a bit longer, but just cut off what I don't need. And I'm going to cut off even a bit more because I want this end to be really just as tiny as possible, and here too. So, and I'll show you why when I get rid of all my debris. There we go. Because I want to fit these two together like this. Do you see? In the middle of the card. So, and I first try them out as well to see where I want to position them. This one goes a bit there, and that one goes there, and I think that is fine. So I'm leaving that one on, and I'm taking away the backing paper from this one. It's delicate, so like that, you see, and now it's loose at these ends. Then you do basically the same thing with your copper bells. You remove the backing paper and the bow as well. I'm getting my silicone craft sheet now, because then I can put the bell down, because I have to remove the backing of 2 bells. So I'm putting it down onto the mat temporarily, and this one too. And then first I put them together. I found that works best. So put them together and then see where you want them on the card. And then you can push down with your bone folder and they will attach. And you see, these two will attach more of the pine twigs, so there'll be enough glue if you just use that 1-inch strip. And then the bow as well, if it wants to be obedient. There we go. And I'm using tweezers now to get it in the right position. There we go. And again, with the bone folder, press down well, so that it adheres well. And there you have a lovely Christmas card, do you see? That's it for today. Dat was het voor vandaag. If you would like to see more of my tutorials, there are some suggestions there, and of course there are loads more on my channel. Als je nog wat meer films wilt kijken, daar staan een paar suggesties en ik heb natuurlijk veel meer filmpjes op mijn kanaal. Thank you very much for watching. Dankjewel voor het kijken en see you next time. Tot ziens, bye bye!